about Chinese culture. So, first of all, I'm going to talk about the introduction of Chinese culture. Chinese culture is one of the world's oldest culture, originating thousands of years ago. That the culture prevails across a large geographic region in East Asia is extremely diverse and varying, with customs and tradition greatly between provinces, cities, and even towns as well. The term China and the geographical landmass of China has shifted across the centuries, with the last name being the Great King before the name China became commonplace in modernity. Chinese civilization. Chinese civilization is historically considered a dominant culture of East Asia, with China being one of the earliest ancient civilizations. Chinese culture exerts profound influence on the philosophy, virtue, etiquettes, and traditions of Asia. China is one of the fourth ancient civilizations along Babylon, India, and Egypt. According to the Chinese scholar Liang, in 1900, it boasts a vast and varied geographical expanse, 3,600 years of written history, as well as a rich and profound culture. Chinese culture is diverse and unique, yet harmonious, blended in invaluable assets of the world. Next slide. Spiritual values. Most spirituality is diverse from Chinese Buddhism, Taoism, and Confucianism. Chinese Buddhism has shaped Chinese culture in a wide variety of areas, including art, politics, literature, philosophy, medicine, and material culture. The translation of a large body of Indian Buddhist scriptures into Chinese and the inclusion of the translations, together with work composed in China, into a printed canon had far-reaching implications from the dissemination of Buddhism throughout China. Reincarnation, rebirth, reincarnation, and other rebirth concepts as a reminder of the connection between real life and the afterlife. In Chinese business culture, the concept of guanxi, indicating the primacy of relation over rules, has been well documented. While many deities are part of the tradition, some of the most recognized holy figures include Guanyin, the Jade Emperor, and Buddha. Chinese Buddhism is also marked by the interaction between Indian religions, Chinese religion, and Taoism. Next slide. Religion. Chinese religion was originally oriented by uh, to worshipping the supreme god Shang during the Xia and Shang dynasties, with the king and the diviners acting as priests and using oracle bones. The Zhou dynasty oriented it and to worshipping the broader concept of heaven. A large part of Chinese culture is based on the notion that a spiritual world exists. Countless methods of divination have helped answer questions, even serving as an alternative to medicine. Folklores have helped fill the gap between things that cannot be explained. Many of the stories have since evolved into traditional Chinese holidays. Taoism. Taoism is a religious or philosophical tradition of Chinese origin which emphasizes living in harmony with the Tao. The Tao is a fundamental idea in most Chinese philosophical schools. In Taoism, however, it donates the principle that a source, patron, and the substances of everything exist. The three triads are compassion, frugality, and humanity, but in general trend to emphasize effortless action like simplicity and spontaneity. Next slide, social structure. Social structure. The social structure of China has an extensive history, which brings from the feudal society of Imperial China to the contemporary era. There was a Chinese nobility beginning with the Zhou dynasty. However, after the Song dynasty, the powerful government offices were not hereditary. Instead, they were selected through the imperial examination system of written examination based on the Confucian thought, thereby undermining the power of hereditary aristocracy. Imperial China. Imperial China divided the country into four occupation or classes, with the imperial ruling over them. Throughout this time period, there were attempts to eradicate this system. Social mobility was difficult. इसका slide show नहीं हो रही.
रुको मैं फिर से शेयर करती हूँ इसको।
सर मैं कंटिन्यू करूँ या स्लाइड्स का वेट करूँ?
जी स्लाइड्स का वेट करें, अभी स्लाइड्स ओपन होती
Okay,
देन
sir.
कंटिन्यू कीजिए। ओके जी स्टार्ट कीजिएगा।
Yes, sir. Social mobility was difficult or sometimes nearly impossible to achieve as social class was primarily defined by an individual's identity. The great majority failed, but for those who passed, this entire family rose in status. Song dynasty. During the Song dynasty, there was a clear division in social structure which was enforced by law. However, commoners could move up in the society through acquirement of wealth. Through passing the imperial exam or donating resources, people could enter the gentry. By the Yuan dynasty, there was a decrease in protection by the law for commoners. And there are many more dynasties like Yuan dynasty, Ming dynasty, and Qing dynasty. That's from my side. Now I would like to call Munib to present his part.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम। सर मेरी बात आ रही? Yes. So my part is Chinese language, and I'm going to portray light on the history and some important aspects. So, Chinese language history in the early 1900s, a program from unification of national language, which is based on Mandarin, was launched. This resulted in modern standard Chinese. In 1956, a new system of romanization called Pinyin, based on pronunciation of characteristics in Beijing dialect, was adopted as an educational instrument to help in the spread of modern standard language. Modified in 1958, the system was formally prescribed for use in all diplomatic documents and foreign language publications in English-speaking countries. Written. The Chinese language is the oldest language in the world with at least 6,000 years of history. Chinese character inscription have been found in turtle shells